Welcome back for another helping of Oysters, Clams, and Cockles. I am Ross Bolen, here with my buddy Barrett Dudley to bring you the best TV shows and movies weekly in an easily digestible podcast packed with laughs. Barrett, how are you on this fine Monday afternoon, late afternoon?
You know, Ross, it's what it is.
It is what it is.
It's what it is.
Okay.
It's what it is.
Yeah.
How I'm doing on this Monday. It's what it is.
It is what it is.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
It's what it is.
Ross, I'm trying to help you.
Oh, okay.
It's what it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to do something for you.
Got it.
It's what it is.
No, I understand.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here I am on a Monday, just feeling.
It could also not.
Good.
We could
Feeling
also be
good.
having this conversation on Thursday. Perhaps.
Yeah. Whenever. Who knows?
Time is relative, Barrett.
That's true.
You do Irishman jokes, and I'll do Watchmen jokes, and we'll mix them together and make a joke baby.
Yeah. We could be experiencing this anytime.
Time is a flat circle.
They've always said that.
Yeah, we have another fun show today. It should go without saying. We're talking about Watchmen, Season 1, Episode 8, the penultimate episode, actually.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I can't even believe that I didn't even think of that until right this second.
It is the penultimate because we only have 9 episodes in Season 1.
You know how we feel about penultimates on this show.
We feel strongly.
We feel strongly about that.
We do.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about an odd numbered amount of episodes in a season. Have we ever had a 9 episodes show before?
Yeah.
Off the top, I can't think of one.
I think so, but I'm not totally positive. Mindhunter might have been 9 episodes this season.
Feels like they would do that to us for some reason.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, yeah, the penultimate episode of Watchmen. And then, of course, we're finally digging into Martin Scorsese's latest, The Irishman, which took us a combined 6.5 weeks to finish of human time between the two of us. Yeah. But, just for those of you who are like, what? The Mandalorian? What about The Mandalorian and his Dark Materials? Next week, we'll be back on Disney Plus's The Mandalorian episodes 5 and 6, as well as his Dark Materials episodes 5 and 6, of course, after we discuss the Season 1 finale of Watchmen, which I'm sure will be totally free of any drama, madness, or weirdness.
Did you watch the latest Mandalorian episode?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
If we have time at the end, maybe we can find a minute to just like touch on the tag at the end of the episode, because that was really the only thing that like is like.
It will take us 3 minutes. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Nah. Yeah, we'll knock it out at the end. Fuck it.
So, and because I mean, other than that, what anything else we can just talk about next week?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like
there wasn't.
This was a pretty like tight episode.
It was a light episode.
It was a light, yes.
In terms of what took place.
Right.
Like when it ended, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. This episode of OCC is brought to you by Leesa. I always argue your mattress is the most important purchase you're going to make for your home, even more important right up there in front of your living room television. So you have to ask yourself, is your mattress comfortable? Look, it's the end of the year, people. We're nearing the end of 2019. Did you spend this whole freaking year on a bed that wasn't a Leesa? That was a mistake. Get yourself a Leesa. Leesa knows how important rest is to a better life. Leesa is the foundation of a healthier, happier you. And to Leesa, a bed is more than just a place to sleep. It's a place for relaxation and rest. I've been sleeping on the Hybrid, their most advanced luxury hybrid mattress, for years and years now. It's made with premium foams and springs for enhanced pressure relief with edge-to-edge support. The most comfortable bed I have ever laid eyes or body on. I highly recommend it to everyone I know, friends, family, people on the street. I scream at them, get you a Hybrid by Leesa. Leesa believes all people should have access to deep rest and relaxation, and as such, they make it easy for their customers to know they've made the right choice through their social impact initiatives tied to each purchase. Leesa donates 1 mattress for every 10 they sell through organizations that work in causes like foster care prevention. To date, they have donated more than 33,000 mattresses through more than 1,000 nonprofits. Leesa mattresses are made in the USA. In-home delivery and setup is available. Financing is also available. Do not miss out, Clam Fam. Finish the year strong. Live healthier. Live happier. Rest deeper. Order today. Get 15% off any mattress for a limited time at Leesa.com/dragon. Use the promo code DRAGON. That's LEESA.com/dragon. Promo code DRAGON. Let's talk about the people out there, many people who have said, my God, one episode of this glorious podcast, Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, discussing all the best in TV and film, is simply not enough, Barry.
That's right.
A
lot of people have been saying
we've created a place for these people, to save them, if you will.
Yeah.
To be their saving grace, to provide them with that, and to fill that hole, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. It's the only place you can get additional exclusive and advertisement-free OCC each and every week throughout the month of December. And just quickly up front, I'll say it. When you sign up for December with a $5 or $10 pledge to enter either the Crustacean Nation or the Mollusk Militia, you immediately gain access to our entire year worth of content. Every single thing we ever published in 2019 on Patreon, you're gonna get it right there. Right there. So if there was like a movie club you missed or some shit.
Right. If you're catching up, we've got Golden Globe noms, the movie that we did last month. Maybe you'll finally learn to respect Mr. Park.
Mr. Park
and see Parasite, which was nominated a couple of times. We've got that going on. That was last month. If you want, Rick and Morty season 4 is going on. We talked about it last month.
Yeah.
And then
we did a whole Rick and Morty spectacular.
The twittering is just there. People are going just absolutely bananas about the last Patreon episode that we did where we talked about Game of Thrones.
Because it was an all-time great episode of podcasting.
Right. I mean, yeah, we gave our 6 months post series finale top 5 characters, which was extremely difficult to do,
but it was really fun,
and they've probably already changed. But yeah, it was great to talk about.
Yeah, if you asked me to do it right now, I couldn't give you the same 5 in that order.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't.
But
So that was great. Tomorrow, Ross and I are going to see Knives Out.
That's going to be a good one.
Also nominated for a Golden Globe. The buzz around this movie is insane.
That's our movie club for December.
We told you to go see it with your friends and family while you were back home for Thanksgiving. We're gonna go see it as friends tomorrow, as friends and as podcast hosts.
We are,
but you've got all month. This movie's not going away. It's a smash hit.
Oh
people.
Yeah,
it's a smash hit.
Get to the theaters. Take your auntie,
and then we'll do hotline calls, and then Patreon will be the only place where you can hear us do a little year in review and break down each of our individual top 5 television shows and movies of 2019.
Which is going to be incredibly fun as well. I'll say this, talking about Game of Thrones again, it felt like new life in my lungs or something. I don't know, it had just been so long. It felt good to talk about the show again, and with some some space. Every time we readdress it, it's going to be a little bit different. And it was just, I feel like for everybody who jumped into OCC, who joined us back when we were Game of Thrones exclusive, it would be super fun for you to hear us talk exclusively about Game of Thrones for almost a full hour again. So yeah, that's available on Patreon as well.
I mean, speaking of Game of Thrones, I know we're not quite there yet, but did you see that the Golden Globes, they went Gandalf on them. They said, you shall not have nominations.
Well, unless you're Kit for some I'm trying to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
I can't. We're going to talk about the Golden Globes at the end of the show, so I'm going to save it for then.
Save it.
But I have takes. I have many takes. Go to patreon.com/oysters, clams, cockles. Join the Crustacean Nation, the Mollusk Militia. Support the podcast. Get additional exclusive ad-free OCC. And hear us talk about all that Game of Thrones and all the fun stuff Barrett just mentioned coming up in December, and then all the great stuff back in November, October, July, August, all the other months that we're in this year on the calendar.
Oh, yeah.
Ready to talk Watchmen?
Let's talk Watchmen.
Penultimate Watchmen. Can we jump straight to the scene after the credits, please?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Because I got a lot of tweets, a lot of DMs from people saying, Ross, you stupid idiot, there's going to be a scene after the credits. Make sure you don't miss it.
Okay.
Just to make sure I didn't miss it, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm after the episode, which was non-stop fucking crazy, I expect the scene after the credits to be like the exclamation point almost.
Right. To really tell you something.
To just knock me on my fucking ass. Mm-hmm. And then it was sort of a letdown after I got that many tweets and DMs. And now the thing is, I think these people were just making sure I didn't miss it.
Right.
But I took it as it's going to be the most important thing you ever see.
Yeah.
And then so when it hit, I was like,
oh, okay.
A horseshoe?
Yeah, so I had not really checked Twitter or DMs or anything, or the Clam fam just doesn't care, or maybe they just know that I'll hit the tag. They wanted to make sure that you.
It's because I've already missed one.
Right.
You were like, "Hey, dumbass."
Yeah. And so wait, which one did you miss?
I don't know.
Not Watchmen.
It was on Watchmen. Yeah.
Oh, was it?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, maybe I missed one.
I think have there been 3?
No,
Two?
not that I remember.
No?
I think
Maybe it wasn't Watchmen.
Okay, it
I
must
think
be,
it was only
something
two.
else.
I got yelled at though for not having seen a
Yeah,
post-credit
right, yeah,
scene
yeah,
of
yeah.
something recently.
Yes, I remember that, but
Yeah.
I can't put my finger on it either.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just so happened to be just like chilling, letting the credits roll on this one, and so I hit it. But yeah, it was
Jaw dropped. Still, you were just like,
It
Wow.
was yeah. My big question was like, wait, so did people in old times just like is like the horseshoe and the cake just something that they did to like shape the cake to weight the cake?
I'm
And
not.
He was like, oh, this cake might have a horseshoe in it, which I can use to dig out of this prison cell.
Like, okay, it's one thing to.
That's what he was doing, right?
Yes.
Digging out of the prison
yes,
cell.
yes,
with
yes,
a
with a
freaking
horseshoe. So it's one thing to discover after all we've seen in this episode that Crookshanks and what's her name? Well, his name.
Crookshanks and
Mr. Phillips.
Mr. Phillips.
about to say,
Crookshanks got ass,
Phillip.
by the way. It's one thing after all that. I'm sorry, I had to. After all that, to see them put that in the cake for him to help him escape. I can't even make sense of that
I
part.
think I can help with that.
Okay.
In the first episode, when they gave him the cake,
Yes.
Phillips handed Vite a horseshoe, and Vite was like, "What the fuck are you doing, you fucking stupid robot clone?"
Right, I remember this.
And he's like, "Oh, maybe he was trying to hand him a knife." I think it's just a bug in the system with the clones.
Okay.
That sometimes they mix
they just
shit
like,
up.
They just like put horseshoes in places.
Yeah. Or like
They
you ask
can't
for a
get
spoon.
the right object always.
You ask
maybe.
for a spoon to give you a syringe or whatever, and they keep repeating this horseshoe thing, and all of a sudden he's like, "Oh shit, there's a horseshoe in here. These fucking dumbasses. Now I can escape."
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, even if you get beyond that, it's like, how long would it take to dig
dig.
out with a horseshoe?
Yeah.
Because it's not a shovel, it's a horseshoe.
Right.
I think this show gets away with a lot by reminding you, "Oh, Adrian Veidt is the smartest man in the world. You give him a horseshoe, tomorrow he has a spaceship."
Fair enough.
You know.
And I like that about his character, too.
Yeah, that's a good note. They have done. It's very believable that he is just like this insane inventor that can literally
Do pretty much anything.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
anything.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
once you've told me the man can make it rain cephalopods or whatever for no reason, then I'm going to believe he can dig out with a horseshoe, I guess.
Did I catch a plot hole though? He's been in Europa for the last 10 years,
On the Jupiter moon?
right?
Uh-huh.
And we in the very first episode, there's a cephalopod dump in Tulsa.
He has that shit on auto.
You think he just
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like he's very clearly manipulating his screens and his systems
Mm-hmm.
to put that dump in wherever it is, Brazil or wherever.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's like Mike is saying, and there's some sort of maybe now that he's locked up there, like
Sure.
the system's still going, and randomly there's like a fucking cephalopod storm or
I'm
whatever.
right.
I don't know.
That's an easy explanation out of it probably, but I did think about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I the way this okay, to jump back from now the post-credits scene to the episode, the way they walked us through all this, like the whole relationship between Angela and Dr. Manhattan, John, was just incredibly well done.
This was a
because
phenomenal
the back and
episode
forth,
of television. The conversation, the centering conversation of them in the bar,
Yes.
and then like the bounces back and forth, was just like impeccably done.
And before I forget, these guys have made fun of the Watchmen movie, right? They've
Yeah.
taken a little jab at it even. They're still borrowing some shit from it. Like, the way Manhattan speaks is very much the same. I mean, it's the tone and everything of the... Look, and I get that there's not a lot of ways to say, all right, now speak with zero empathy for humanity. But when Dr. Manhattan on the show is speaking, I keep being reminded of Dr. Manhattan from the movie.
Yeah,
So there
and
are things
I mean, the look, the glow is very similar, and I mean, I would also attribute that though to one of the things that people both criticized the movie for, but also gave it some credit for, is that it was such a faithful like adaptation, like visually and like
Okay, like the comic booky visual style.
Yeah, like it interpreted the comic book very, kind of page for page and
Yeah.
look for look.
Got it.
So if if we're saying that the movie, if one of the things that it really got right was like the way that these people looked, then it kind of stands to reason that the show,
Yeah.
keeping faithful to the graphic novel, would also kind of emulate
Right.
some of that.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point.
But yeah, the like Dr. Manhattan like looks very similar as to the movie's Dr. Manhattan as well.
Yes. So okay, so the thing about this show, and another thing about this show that they do so well, is the ability to never, at this point, never really question like the, first few episodes were constantly bothered by like, what is happening? What is going on? The cephalopods are raining from the sky. Fucking Mothman, paparazzi, which have not reappeared for some reason.
And still no word from Lube Man either.
Or Lube Man,
he's just gonna pop up next episode to save the whole thing, right?
He's gonna slide back up out, yeah, and then sacrifice himself to save Angela. By the way, the title of the episode, what it was, a god walks into a bar, and then they had it a bar, like Angela a bar instead of a bar.
They changed that right before they aired the episode.
Did they?
All last week it was a space bar, but on Sunday it was a bar, one word.
No way.
On all the apps.
That's so weird.
So I didn't notice until today when I saw, or maybe it was last night when I saw the title written out on on like pieces or whatever or stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
And they had put it together. I feel like when I hit play on HBO Go last night, it was still separated.
It was definitely together within the episode.
Yeah.
Like when it, how in each episode we finally get a view of the words.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, they may have updated that right after.
Interesting.
Also, that's a crazy thing is that they can change this shit after the fact.
Yeah.
Like with the Game of Thrones Starbucks cup, remember that shit was gone like 2 days later?
Yeah.
Off any version of it you streamed?
They're like Kanye, just logging
Changing
back in the
it?
title and changing the entire album.
I don't like that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, man.
We can just kind of memento this thing a little bit though, and I just want to take one.
We don't have much choice.
One step back from the kind of credits tag there. I still don't understand why Manhattan can't just stand in that house and just evaporate everything that's outside.
Mike, please help us here, because it is the one thing that when you're, because when she's like, I'm gonna save your life, and he's like, this is the moment I fell in love with you, when I've told you that there's no way you can save me, and you try anyway. It's like you start to think about it, and you're like, well, can't you just literally close your eyes and turn all those guys into dust?
At this point, it's all theorizing, but 3 things. 1, it's just really good emotional writing, and Lindelof is always going to go for that over, what makes sense.
Right.
2, I read the comic before the show came out again, and Dr. Manhattan, it does not surprise me that he does have a subconscious death wish. So I think he'd be okay with dying.
But also, hasn't he been didn't Adrian attempt to destroy him in a similar manner, or with a similar sort of plan with the technology, and then it didn't work?
They still haven't explained this new technology that
these guys
I guess
have.
They're going to dive into that next episode. But the third thing is that him being so omniscient and omnipotent,
right?
Perhaps he sees that his death will lead to a better future for everyone, so it's necessary.
I'm still not buying his death.
I'm not either. But that's the kind of the third thing that you mentioned there is kind of the one thing that I have been kind of grabbing at a little bit, is that because he does exist simultaneously and essentially all of time. Then there's something about this moment that he kind of knows needs to happen or should happen. And also, I don't know, there's part of him that like, this episode says it a lot, that despite him basically being a god, he still wants to be human. Right? And
I don't know. The thing for me is always that it's because it's like, see, this is where I start to draw in shit from the movies, and it gets weird because from the movie, he's supposed to be like totally disconnected from humanity, right? And it turns out, like we find out, it hasn't even been him on Jupiter. That's been a hologram
on Mars.
Or project. I'm sorry, on Mars building, just a series of patterns or whatever, and he's actually been down here on Earth, walking around.
Well, no, he was on Europa creating that world.
Okay.
And he thought that was going to be his purpose, and it left him unfulfilled again. And I think what he told Vate was that what he saw in Angela was a kinship. She projects that she doesn't want people or family, but that's the one thing she really wants.
More than anything.
And he gets that.
Ah,
He
okay,
feels it,
yeah.
yeah.
It was interesting how they were able to draw like almost these parallels between like your Christian God and your Dr. Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
And like you know, the idea of a God becoming so bored with his creation
Sure.
that he's just like, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Is like the most terrifying thing with that they find ways to play with in these microcosms,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, but I still, okay, so even if he sees everything at once and
I'm
he's
just-
able to put together,
Because he knows that he doesn't actually have to go out there and be a shield in front of Angela. He can literally do this stuff from anywhere.
right?
right?
So he's choosing to
But
die.
he does anyway. He goes out there and like is protecting her in close range and is out there like in the shit blowing everybody's head up. But he has to know he doesn't have to do that. So it like has to be some type of
This leads to this
choice
Yeah.
about of either this is what like a human would do. You'd go out there. She's ready to fight and save me by like standing in front of the firestorm. So I'll do that too.
Yeah.
Or he knows
Yeah.
this has to happen.
Also, the other way would just make for such a boring
Sure. If he
show.
just went-
Yeah.
Right, and that's fair. But I mean, okay, so then there's like, I'm like, Angela, why don't you? She's like running over there to strap up, and I'm like, you're not even gonna yell at him, like, dude, you could kill all those people right now.
I think that's the point, that she, even though he could, she does it anyway.
Yeah, but when she's like, they've been out there in the car this whole fucking time, it's like, dude, just blow up the car, like make the car disappear and turn into
Right.
butterflies. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why we're
Yeah.
tripping out about this. It's like she doesn't even say anything. So it's sort of also just
The story.
the way he is too, though. Like he does inexplainable shit, like inexplicable
Mhm.
shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then down the line, it will have to lead to something. It makes because nobody was even up there pulling the trigger on that thing, man.
Right.
Like, tell me that dude didn't. If you sat here and tried to convince me Dr. Manhattan committed suicide, I could buy that.
I mean,
There's nobody on the thing.
The guy can teleport, and he knows all, so he could just literally teleport 5 feet in the opposite direction.
Yes, and
right
get out of the
before
way.
The guy hits the trigger.
But there's no guy. I'm telling you, there's not a motherfucker on that machine.
Oh, no! One like climbs back up.
And
and
Yeah.
is like,
Ah.
yeah.
Well,
But yeah, the only reason.
need more there.
Yeah,
That's the area we're frustrated
Yeah,
currently.
exactly. It's just because we know what Doc Manhattan can do.
It's weird
It
and
just
it doesn't make sense.
It presents this question, and they didn't set it up in a way that like kind of also gave us the answer to that. And just to kind of spin off of that, one of the things that this episode did do a lot of is this answered a lot of questions. The type of questions that I think people were worried we wouldn't get answers to.
Like what?
Like, where is Vate?
Okay.
What is that? Why is he there?
Right.
What is Dr. Manhattan in a body that he created or a body that he like adopted?
That was
What's
cool
the-
getting the
what's the-
full story on.
What's the ring in his head
Yeah.
doing? Like the whole like they put together all the, and I mean obviously we still have a lot of questions, but they really
Sure.
filled in a lot here.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, so one for me, Mike, is why did Adrian Veidt so readily agree to help Dr. Manhattan create the technology that then enabled him to live that life with Angela for a decade or whatever?
Well, he already had the technology created.
30
And
years prior?
That was his plan A, in which he wanted to knock him out if he couldn't kill him. But he went with his plan B in the comic and tried to kill him instead. So he already had that tech, conveniently. So when
Okay.
Dr. Manhattan comes and asks for it, he has it ready.
But then why agree to it at that point? Is it giving him sort of, well,
I think just 30 years have passed, and
and that's also when he agrees
you
to be
know.
sent to this paradise
Right.
with Crookshanks and
yeah.
Wilson, Watson.
The,
What's his fucking
the
I can't-
feeling that I got there was that there's just very much like a mutual respect between these two
Mhm.
guys.
Yeah.
Also, like one is the closest thing that anybody on Earth will ever see to actually being divine, and the other, as you know, we talked about a few minutes ago, is actually the smartest person on Earth.
Right.
You know, so they are two titans, and I think they're
Yeah, I feel that.
They think in the moment that they are helping each other.
And then, okay, so Crookshanks and the other guy are modeled after his parents? Or, no,
No.
The couple that he walked in on, or that he was in the closet,
they were having sex.
and they were about to bone down.
Now, neither of them was his parents.
No.
Correct.
Okay. Huh.
No,
Weird.
But they asked. They were the ones that were like, when you get to the U.S.,
Make us something
make
beautiful.
something beautiful.
right. They were a kindly couple that opened their home to refugees, and
Okay.
he was one of the refugees.
But his mother was off banging an SS captain or
Yeah, and his
something?
dad was Jewish.
Right.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
That'll turn you into a weirdo, man. That'll mess your brain right up.
Yeah.
And
just,
this guy is he is something else, man. He is fucking losing his shit in that jail cell, laughing with that, digging his way out with a horseshoe at this point.
Well, now we're talking about different people.
Oh, are we? Who are you talking about?
That's Dr. Manhattan.
I'm sorry. I'm tripping out. Dr. Manhattan is the one who created the place and then stuck right there.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Now that's another interesting question though. Is did Dr. Manhattan know that what he was doing there? Well, I mean, once again, hard
Yeah,
to
we don't
even
know
talk
this.
about because he had to have known because he knows everything already.
Right.
So he knew that Vate would dislike it there and attempt to escape.
It's like you said last week. This is always the question with omnipotency is like, why allow
sure
bad shit to happen, or like how do you, it's impossible to fathom that type of knowledge, right? Where you know and see everything. So like, okay, moving into how this all began and this story we are currently ingesting in the form of season 1. And Angela at one point in this episode asks, holy shit, did I start all this?
Right. Yeah.
Because she tells her grandfather about Judd, who he did not know about,
Exactly. Yeah.
sending him on a path, in her mind at least so far,
Yep.
and ours now, until we see another episode, that leads to him, to all this.
Right. To yes.
Killing Judd. And,
Killing, to the grandpa killing Judd, to the thing that I don't see how that fits into the big picture yet, but I guess we will probably. I'm still very unclear on the 7th Cavalry, and
The other
our boy Looking Glass is still in there.
Right. Yeah. He is.
That's a potential loophole here, by the way. Dr. Manhattan and
Definitely,
Looking Glass
definitely.
probably get along, I would have to guess.
Yeah. Just one other thing about Dr. Manhattan and his motivations and all of that. Another part of it is, and he briefly mentions this in the episode. He says that he isn't really able to change stuff. So I don't know exactly how that would work, but it's almost like even though he can see his own future and the world's future, like
I took that as like it's already in
He
place.
can't change the decisions that he makes.
he's
really.
already there.
You're right.
That's where it gets so confusing. Is that he's having these conversations simultaneously, and knows the results of the conversations, and knows. So that's where it gets completely funky.
Right.
And it's when she's asking, like, did I start all this? Well, he knows you're starting it. So did he start all of it then? Like it's like it just.
This
gets
is the reason he has to die.
Because it's too confusing.
It's too confusing to put this guy in a narrative television show.
So you
episodic.
think he's gone?
I think I saw him in the preview for the next episode. Spoilers, but
Okay.
He's
but he's
like trapped in a box.
he's trapped in a box.
That
I think he's going to
definitely
die.
Didn't kill him.
No, it trapped him.
It trapped.
Like you
Yeah.
said, it would transport him to
Right. Yeah.
a
Now they're
place he was unable to escape from,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna learn what that fucking thing
Yes,
is.
and how they plan to destroy him and recreate his powers within Keen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to wipe out the omnipresent being that is causing hiccups in our narrative TV show, and then replace him with another omnipresent being stealing that one's powers. Like, so that has to go awry, obviously.
Yeah.
As we, kind of hurtle towards the finish line here, it does. I'm really not sure that they're making any more of this, though.
After one season, you
Yeah.
think they might call it quits.
They might.
Yes. Because this is not despite it being based on a show that is, or on a graphic novel that is technically about, superheroes and vigilantes, it's not really about like heroes and villains in a lot of ways
No.
either. It's way more about society
It's about the culture.
and culture. Yeah. And so, we've talked about this.
That reminds me of the Joker thing a little.
Yeah, and it's like we talked about with Joker. It's I feel very similarly in that if you do another season of this, it almost feels like you will have to like turn it into some of the superhero type tropes. Like there will have to be another villain. There will have to be another catastrophe to overcome.
Right.
And it won't just be this
The
like
story.
really contained story about
humans
and people in society and
in this case, it's
current
so
events.
focused
And so it's like,
on Angela too. It's like she drives all of this stuff so far, and she's very clearly the center of it. And it's the other part that I wonder on still hard is like, okay, Manhattan walks into a bar and falls in love with this woman because of this moment X amount of years down the line, and he sensed like sorrow in her or some shit and wanted to. Like, man, there's a lot of people in the world that are fucking sorrow-filled, and like, like, I need to see it.
That's
why her almost. You know what I mean?
But that's the
picked
thing.
a random
that's
cop.
the thing that I was like trying to get at with the way that his abilities work. And obviously, we could sit here and talk about. We could try to figure this out.
Oh,
for
yeah.
days on end, but I guess maybe picture it like this: like if you sitting right here, right now, knew every single thing that was going to happen in the rest of your life for the future, but yet you only knew it as like a spectator.
Right.
So you weren't able, those two things are compartmentalized, like the decisions that you make and the knowledge
that
of
you have.
those decisions.
Right.
So it's like you can't fix or change any of those decisions because they still happen to you in linear time. There's just like in the back of your brain, you also know what those decisions will be.
Right.
That's
maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. The weird thing is that he experiences all of them at the same time, and that's just not something that is really,
I do like the way that they
does not compute beep beep boop. Where's Brian at?
Yeah.
I do like the way that they presented that. The non-linear narrative that we saw was really good. It was a lot better than when they tried to do that in the movie. It worked a lot better than in the comic when you're switching from frame to frame.
It worked phenomenally on the episode. It played out very, very well, beautifully on screen. But I still am so confused, like beyond. Well, no, I mean, it's like it's been great to watch some of this stuff kick into areas that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we've sort of reshuffled the deck in advance of the finale, it's going to be crazy to see how they put all the pieces back. Like, what's the deal with the grandpa?
Right.
Judd, the sort of thing that, like, kickstarts the first episode, Judd's hanging, is almost sort of meaningless right now.
I think that's where we're going with it. I don't think that it
had anything to do with
really
anything.
Meant much.
It'll be really
in the grand scheme of
right.
things.
Right. It'll be funny if it really does end up that like literally that was just like his grandpa's deal and he kept it in there, and then like Angela's somehow in this. The chicken and the egg thing is what fucks it up, because then it's like
Will Reeves about it,
and then Will Reeves comes
and kills the guy.
But then that's the chicken and the egg thing.
Well, Judd's wife she didn't know about the entire plan, so so did Judd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
Judd might not have been as deeply committed to all the horrible racism as the worst 7th Cavalry guy is.
But he was part of it.
But he was part of it, and he enabled it.
Yeah. And Will has something cooking with Lady True as well.
Yeah, we've got no idea what that is.
We still have the Millennium Clock to figure out.
Got no clue what the fuck that thing is.
Although I'm willing to place a big bet that it's a mesmerizer.
Yeah. Totally.
We're going to mesmerize everybody at the end of the show?
The whole squad getting mesmerized, yeah.
What to think what? Or to do what?
To get rid of the drama. And it's not going to work.
Yeah.
No more drama?
Everybody's going to be broken.
Trauma.
Mary J. Blige? Oh, Trauma.
TR, yeah.
Meek Mill. Okay.
Trauma.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, it was also great.
I mean, like you said, Looking Glass and Lori Blake have just been sidelined for like 3 episodes now too. So they'll obviously figure to play in this episode as well.
I wonder how they make that work, right? Because we sort of been driven by Angela, especially this episode.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get back to, we had a Looking Glass episode, we had a Lori Blake episode. Like, how do we now, in this final episode, how are we going to sort of?
Well, they're all heading to the same place.
Headed,
to the wherever Dr. Manhattan.
Lori's going to be sitting in front of the Dr. Manhattan machine.
Yeah.
Looking Glass is theoretically in the mix with his mask on.
Right.
There already. Dr. Manhattan will be there. Angela will chase. Who else we got? Oh, and then Lady True and Will. Don't know how they'll get there, but
Don't know what they're doing, but they're out there.
Yeah.
Lady True and her daughter mom.
And don't forget about the elephant.
And the elephant.
Just sleeping.
Oh, did you notice the line that Veidt said when Dr. Manhattan asked how he knew something? And he was like, "Oh, a little elephant told me."
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wow,
Not
that's
a
good
little birdie.
stuff.
Interesting.
It's very, very, very well written. For something so complicated and crazy.
One of the writers of this episode was a guy who used to cover Lost for Entertainment Weekly,
No way.
Doc Jensen. And then Lindelof started reading his reviews back in the day and became a fan. He worked with Lindelof on a few episodes of The Leftovers, I want to say. And
Wow.
now he's a writer on Watchmen.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, the way he brings this thing home will be something else because it's out there in a lot of ways. It's definitely on the verge of being in the argument for best show of the year.
Yeah, I feel, and I'm feeling relatively confident based on the first 8 episodes that 9
That they're not going to fumble.
That they don't. I really have a hard time seeing that.
Because when there's moments where it clicks, like the moments where we get a little piece or we figure or we start to see or we get some of the pass and you're like, oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
They don't ever feel convoluted. They always feel like, oh, that's crazy.
It locks into place really
Yeah,
well.
just really smoothly. It's never as silly as I
Yeah.
think it will be based on how insane the shit they're proposing is.
Right.
Then when it gets explained, I'm like, fuck yeah, that's tight. It's weird. It's just really well done.
Yeah.
Enjoying it. Can't wait for the finale next week, which we will obviously be discussing at length.
No Golden Globe nominations, by the way. For
Probably not eligible.
You
Definitely
think?
not. No way.
Yeah?
Or else, fuck the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
That would make no sense.
I think it was eligible because I saw
What?
like Alan Sepinwall, some really bona fide TV critics saying that this should have been nominated.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, no, you're not kidding.
Yeah.
It's that's a thing people are talking about
Mhm.
as a snub.
Yeah.
Huh. We're going to get to the Golden Globes shortly.
That's
And I'm
interesting.
going
That's
to
interesting.
absolutely flip the fuck out. All right? Just in a few minutes. This episode of OCC is also brought to you by Hawthorne. Cologne is a very complicated thing. Tough to pick a scent, a fragrance, impossible to know when you're getting ripped off, which is almost always. And too many dudes pick their cologne back at like Abercrombie in 2008 or 2004. That's not a year, Barrett. 2004, and probably not Abercrombie because that was when Barrett and I were young. But I don't know where the place y'all been picking your shitty cologne is. But you've been rocking it ever since, and it's a disaster. And girls think you smell like high school. Smelling good is important, and that's where Hawthorne comes in. Hawthorne, it smells very, very good. Getting their cologne is so damn easy. You go to hawthorne.co, you take their quiz, you figure out which scents are best for you. It takes 2 minutes. They send you one for play, one for work, totally free shipping and free returns. They have incredible personalized products like deodorant, shampoo, body wash. I love their shampoo, conditioner, and body wash.
I love a good quiz, man.
And a good quiz.
You just go. You go on there. It's a fun quiz. You know, too. It asks you about your grooming habits and your skin type and that type of
Your
thing.
hair type.
And then boom, it's like here's all the best products for you.
Here's the
you don't
shampoo
even have
you
to,
need.
You don't have to think about it.
Here's the conditioner
You
you
just
need.
fill out the quiz, fun quiz, 2
Fun.
minutes, and then boom, there's your whole regimen if you want.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'm all Hawthorne everything now, and you will be too. Their shampoo, their conditioner, their body wash, their deodorant, all good stuff that I'm using a couple times a day. Check out Hawthorne at hawthorne.co. That's Hawthorne with an E, HAWTHORNE. Use the promo code DRAGON. You'll get 10% off your first purchase. That's HAWTHORNE, hawthorne.co. And use our code DRAGON to get 10% off your purchase, hawthorne.co. Code DRAGON, totally free, risk-free shipping and free returns. And again, you get your whole set. Like, you know, you're all up in the grocery store picking out a shampoo and a conditioner and a deodorant. And like, fuck all that. Just go to hawthorne.co, take the quiz, get all your stuff sent to you. Boom, you're done. And it's great. Let's talk The Irishman.
Shampoo is better. I go on first and clean the hair.
Conditioner is better. I leave the hair silky and smooth. Oh, really, fool? Yes, really. All right, The Irishman.
Stop looking at me, Swan.
The Irishman is probably the most overhyped thing I've seen this year in terms of hype. And here's my reasoning. It's 3 hours and 500 minutes long.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I was asking myself what this had accomplished differently than Scorsese's past catalog of films.
Okay.
Yeah, it was fun as hell. It was really, really, really fun to watch in 5 different sittings because it was that long. And I'm not gonna like sit here and rag on the movie this whole time. I'm just giving you my general thoughts having finished it today. It's very, very long. It's fun. It's great to see De Niro and Pacino and Pesci, and everybody loves Martin Scorsese, and then everybody loves the Mafia, and it's so fun to see crime. This is just fucking unnecessary, bro. This is like the CGI shit you get over an hour and a half into it or whatever, but then you see De Niro like kicking the shit out of a shop owner, and it looks ridiculous because he's 90 fucking years old in real life, and they can't CGI his legs and muscles and shit, and it looks like your grandpa like beating somebody up, which is not a thing.
I am shocked that this is your feel that you of all people feel this way about the Irishman.
Didn't just fucking let it happen.
This is wild.
Yeah.
You are like
Here I am,
you are
man.
like Mr. Sopranos and Goodfellas and Godfather and Casino.
You know what all those movies and television shows have in common? Not elderly stars. The cast of this movie is elderly
Okay.
and then CGI'd back to fucking youth?
Okay, first thing, it's a mistake. You took 2 weeks and broke this down into way too many installments,
Quite possible.
which I'm sure
It was really
made
only 3.
Which I'm sure made it feel longer than it was. 3.5 hours is. I agree. It is hard to. What's difficult about it is that it's hard to find the time to carve out. Really, like you have to dedicate basically like a weekend night. Most likely to see this. I broke it down into 2.
Okay.
Over the 2 viewings over the course of 3 days, I believe.
Okay.
So I had a day in between
Yeah, I ended
starting
up with
it
like a full week.
and finishing it. And what's interesting is y'all have heard me talk, and I'm not the biggest like mafia movie and show guy.
No.
Like that's not like I mean I think
It's not your bag, baby.
right, but I totally appreciate movies like Casino and everything, but it's not. I don't typically do repeat viewings. It's not totally what interests me.
That may be part of the problem because I've seen Casino like 40
Sure.
fucking times.
And I watched this movie and was absolutely blown away.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm shocked by this too.
like this movie deserved its runtime as well because for me, what this movie like boiled down to is basically like living life and then dealing with the regrets that are at the end of it.
Sure. Okay. I was going to ask what your take was on the message of the general move. So that's sort of your...
So because this happens over so many decades and is about like, this man that basically just continues down this path that he feels is
His
like
path,
is
yeah.
his path. And then at the end, it's like, what was it all for? Every
Here's-
single one of these guys chooses this, and yet one of the other things that I feel like the movie was trying to say is, if you choose this, you get shot in the face 8 times.
And you die alone.
And you die alone.
Yeah.
Right.
And miserable. Probably in prison.
So,
But is that the message that I needed to get out of this? That's what I'm saying. Is like, I knew that from
Yeah,
the other 8
right.
Scorsese movies I watched.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I saw Blow back when they did that shit, man. The whole fucking movie was built towards you seeing him in the prison yard walking
Yeah.
by himself as an old man.
Yeah.
I'm aware, Barrett, that if you commit heinous, murderous crimes, that at the end of your life, you are most likely going to have to deal with that.
So here's another thing that I thought really hit home with that. What was interesting is, about halfway through the movie, I'm trying to figure out which one of the decades, which one of like the eras is the one where De Niro and Pesci don't need any CGIing or makeup.
Right.
And it turns out it's one that's pretty close to the end. Because, like you said, those guys are in their mid to late 70s.
So, okay,
So
when they're in prison, is that
No,
they're made to look older?
No, it's more like when they're on the when they're on the drive.
Okay.
With their wives. That's
Okay.
like current day Pesci and De Niro, pretty much.
Wow. Okay.
And then even when De Niro is a little bit older and is like goes to the bank, that's not too far away for him.
okay.
So that, so I'm considering that, and Pacino's up there too, is in his 70s. Scorsese obviously up there. So that was another really fascinating piece of this movie that made it so interesting to me is that these guys are making a movie about growing old and dying, and they are all
Doing
like
that.
right there. They are not far away, and it's like so to watch them pour everything that they had into one last run on this
Sure.
was incredible, and especially when you think about like what was the last good thing that De Niro actually tried with.
That's a very good point. And this is where it's weird for me because I feel like I've watched his classics so many times that like his run never really stopped in my head. So it's not like it has been, I can't name the last really good movie he did.
Yeah.
But that's not how it feels.
It's probably like a comedy turn in Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is like to get back to this is huge.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. And I mean,
the CGI did not bother me.
okay. So that's the one thing that
you named the scene where I was
the
like
gas station scene, was it?
the
one where he's beating the shit out of the guy. And
where he
he's
goes
kicking
to the
him.
grocery store or the convenience store and like stomps the dude.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait. Is he
He's
like
stomping on his hand?
why is that guy screaming out in bloody murder type pain
He's stepping on his hand.
when he's just like kind of softly kicking this dude's hand? That was weird. And
They should have just reshot the fucking thing.
There were a couple of times where De Niro is
scene.
supposed to be younger, and then you like have to see him move,
and you're like, oh, fuck.
and you're like, okay, well, this is not the walk of a 38-year-old. This is the walk of a 76-year-old.
And that, look, they keep like popping out kids. He like keeps having fucking kids, and you're like,
Yeah,
what is he,
that
70
was-
fucking years old here, baptizing another kid? Surely this is somebody else's kid. And then it's his kid
It's
again.
his
And you're
kid,
like, oh,
yeah,
good, he's got
yeah.
like 6 kids now. Who are these women? I don't even fucking know. It just gets Anna Paquin's in there. People freaking out because she only had 4 lines or some shit. We're doing the whole doing the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing again because they didn't give her enough lines.
Stop.
That
Stop
isn't
with
a
all
thing, by the way. That isn't how it works. Women or men. If there's a character role and it has 4 lines, it doesn't matter who you cast. You don't go, well, fuck, it's Anna Paquin. You know what? We've got to do. God damn it, she's too talented, Barrett.
It's also
We need more lines.
You're not seeing the forest for the trees. I hope I got that.
I think that's right.
That idiom right. But like,
I've never been one to see it.
to me, Peggy's silence is like wildly powerful. She is a silent observant of the horrible things that her father is doing for her entire life, and there's nothing that she can do about it.
And it fucks her up, yeah. Anderson,
Like that was the point to me, is that she is forced to be a passive viewer of this, and she can't say anything.
and
What are you
she
supposed
can put
to do?
that pain on her face, and then the sister is the one who explains it to Dad.
Yeah.
Man, look, you fucked us up. Like
Yeah.
this has been brutal for us as kids. Our whole lives have been
So
hell.
no, I reject I'm not engaging any further than that
Okay,
with,
good.
with that
So
criticism.
here's the other thing for me, is that The Sopranos being one of my favorite shows ever and being solely about the mafia and how it affects a man who chooses to live that life and his entire family as a result. This, again, it's a subject that I felt was rehashed in this movie, but without adding anything to the narrative. Like, so it was fun, and I loved mafia movie. And again, I know you're shocked me coming in like with a less than just emphatic review or whatever, but it just didn't feel like we did something here. It felt like, okay, I get the project, I get that it's cool as shit to get these 3 legends and move them through the decades like that with this crazy ass technology, and it was, I'm sure, an insane challenge to film. They probably had to take 7,000 bathroom breaks throughout the course of filming this thing. And I appreciate that. But when I finished the movie, I wasn't like, damn, this changed my perspective on X or made me think about X that I hadn't thought about before, which is a problem. That's a problem.
Okay, I hear what you're saying about kind of, questioning what this movie kind of added, like what did it say additionally?
Like, what was the fucking message?
But just to ask you this, did you not think that like Joe Pesci put down just an all-time great performance? And I mean like Godfather included. This was fucking incredible from Joe Pesci.
I thought Pesci was the next level shining star of the movie.
Absolutely.
Like, I thought Pacino was the same he's been in every movie he was ever in. The scene they give him where he goes all Pacino, you stupid motherfuckers. Like, that's great, but I've seen him do that 40 times. By the way, I just crushed that. And
Wait, which scene is that?
He's screaming at the Teamsters that have allowed him to somehow get into a terrible. I can't even remember. He's screaming at a room full of guys.
Pacino.
Sorry,
Pacino.
yeah, Pacino.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I said Pacino. If I didn't, sorry. But that's him his whole career, like in every movie he's ever done. Pesci was the one, and then again, De Niro, I just kept being like, oh, God, he's so old. He's kicking and flailing. Pesci was the one where I was like, every scene, I never had a problem with a single thing he did. It was all incredibly believable. The brutality of the way he operated was incredible. And he was fucking scary, dude.
While also simultaneously being like a nice guy.
And like 90 in a lot of the scenes. Yes, it was crazy. Like, you feel so threatened by this little dude. But
he's tiny.
Sadly, go back and watch Casino, bro. Go back.
No,
he killed it then too.
But it's so different because that's so classic Pesci in Casino. That's only a few steps removed from Harry in Home Alone, where he's like
just stabbing people in the eye.
Where, he's like, oh, you motherfucker, chicken. Yeah, exactly. Like he can be. We know he can do the kind of like manic, crazy guy. Tough act.
So this for him was that minus the physical violence.
Like
basically.
this was, and I mean, this is probably blasphemy for any type of film buff, but as far as like mob bosses go, like this is close to, brain fart.
Godfather is what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando?
Marlon Brando, thank you.
Okay.
Like as far as like Dons go, you know what I mean?
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
I thought Mahershala Ali was good at playing way older than he was. Joe Pesci in the prison scene in the prison scenes, dude, where he's got like the shake going and just like the voice, the whole
That's why I thought
thing.
I thought that was real. I thought that was their real. Like, no, that doesn't even make sense. Because then how would they? Reverse them out of that?
I will say you are right. Like I was probably more affected by this movie because I'm not such like a huge fan of Casino and Goodfellas and like other movies where he obviously made a name for himself.
Yeah, and that's very important to take away from my take here. But I have seen Goodfellas and Casino, not exaggerating, no less than probably a combined 40 times.
Yeah, but I still would say that like that his. I was big on Brad Pitt getting an Oscar this year for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Okay.
And now it's like, no way. It has to go to Joe Pesci. It has to. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, and then, okay, so I will give you that. I thought Pesci's performance was crazy.
And then for De Niro, we talked about how this is the first kind of real thing that it seems like he's put in a lot of effort for in a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that he just wasn't as much of a scene stealer as Pesci was, which happens when you're kind of, and this happened, we see this all the time, especially with like the award nominated movies where like the lead,
it's different.
You
don't get to be as much of a spark plug.
Exactly. But I thought he was great. And he is one of like the all-time greats at kind of communicating without needing to say anything.
Dude, the phone call scene with Joe was crazy to watch him struggle so hard to get anything out.
Yeah.
And then
and then I would just say that piece of the storyline, like when he's sitting in the little diner with Russ, and Russ tells him, he's like, I had to put you into this, otherwise you never would have let it happen. And he does not say a single word.
Right.
He just sits there and like deals with the fact that he's going to go have to do this.
Yeah. Later he asks himself in the presence of the priest, what type of man makes a phone call like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
With no context to the priest. The priest is like, fucking guy's losing his fucking mind. But no, so okay, that now that I'm thinking through that gives it a little more depth for me. Like that gives it a little more of like the message right there, right? Is that you this guy ruined himself and his family. Like but still, it's like you're retreading that sword. I know that if you enter into the mafia at this point, based on all the movies and shit I've seen, that you are living in a completely different set of rules and standards than everybody else. Basically, just off, like the only reason is greed, is money. To do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then of course you sacrifice your morals and shit along the way. That's how it works. It's the fucking mafia.
Did you know going into The Irishman that this movie was like loosely historical?
I knew we were going to get into Hoffa's situation. I had no idea it was going to be the driving like storyline of the movie.
Okay. And were you familiar with Jimmy Hoffa in general?
Only to the degree that he was a union boss who
Had ties to
heavily
the
tied
mafia.
into organized crime, and he disappeared, and he became like the great "Where's Jimmy Hoffa?"
Yeah.
It's the joke about disappeared shit. It always brings up Jimmy Hoffa. So like I've probably heard 20 Jimmy Hoffa jokes from different Oscar hosts over the course of the last 30 years or whatever.
And let me tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've heard the word Teamster and just nodded my head, pretending I know what a Teamster is.
Because we don't have this shit down here in the South. We don't have unions and the Teamsters and all that cool shit that, well, some people think it's cool. I only think it's cool because of mafia movies. In the Northeast, they have all that shit.
And then I was like, oh, a Teamster is a truck driver.
It makes no sense to us down here. If you're in the Northeast and you're in Jersey or you're in New York and you're like, you idiots don't know Teamsters, we don't have this shit. So the only stuff we know about unions is basically from like The Sopranos and mafia movies and stuff. This was a very big lesson for me on Jimmy Hoffa, though.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I didn't know a lot.
No idea about this dude.
And because this movie kind of, especially with the Jimmy Hoffa stuff, but it like bumps up against the JFK assassination and kind of like just speaks to history and what's going on.
It doesn't bump up against it. It says the mafia killed him
throughout the movie. One of the movies that this really reminded me of was Forrest Gump.
I'm starting to like it more now that we're talking about it a lot. Okay. And sure. So it became sort of this vehicle film to sort of take us almost like through pieces of American history too. But I almost wish they had like leaned into it a little more.
And done a little bit more of that.
Take maybe a couple more events or something.
Sure.
Like just give us a couple more of the cool little, because Forrest Gump was so great because we saw what was that, like 3 decades of historic moments.
And that was obviously way more focused on doing that.
But just that was the idea.
The piece of this movie that did that
brought it into that,
especially about how it was like one guy, especially focused on one guy, and
brought in JFK.
He keeps affecting or being kind of like he's a peripheral player on these kind of major events in U.S. history.
And in that way, I'll say this: that was another very cool thing about this movie is that it played with the element that what is seemingly small-time organized crime, because that's what it is. This is they're running. I mean, come on, it's big racket or whatever, but it's small-time organized crime. These dudes are running gambling rings and shit and moving drugs, and they're not in some terrorist organization plotting world domination.
Yeah.
And it showed that even the way their setup could have impacted like United States and then world history.
Yeah.
Because they implied that as a result of these, shady dealings that they had, that the Kennedy thing was all wrapped up into that. Which has always been one of the speculations, obviously.
One of the conspiracy theories.
But to just straight up like plop on it was pretty heavy. For Scorsese to just be like, and the mafia killed JFK was like, holy shit. And then to like tie that in the other piece of history, the what happened to Jimmy Hoffa thing, when De Niro drops him, well, first of all, part of the reasoning for his age repeatedly affecting me is his signature move when he explains it. He's like, I came up with a thing. I wanted to be something completely new and different than anybody had ever done before. And
this
is
like, Marty?
I'm doing De Niro. I can't do De Niro. He's like, he's going to commit his first assassination. You're
talking about the scene in the movie?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And he's like, I wanted to find a way to do it that was but he's like, and your first inclination is to drop I don't know. They tried to do the Godfather thing, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And the next thing you know, you see him execute his move, which Barrett, it turns out, is to just walk up to somebody and go, bah, 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 real quick in the head, and then fucking bounce, which is not spectacularly creative. Like, I was just like, I don't get. So they kept having him do that, right? Mm-hmm. Run up to somebody, go, bah, 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 and bounce. And the older he fucking gets, which is the same age the entire time, it's the same guy, spoiler alert. Bro, he can't do it very well. Like, it's just like, I just kept imagining, it's like, you lose a step. You cannot move your arm at the same speed as a 25-year-old when you're fucking 65. It just doesn't work that way.
He's the best in the game, Ross.
So that kept messing
what it
with
is.
me. But the way he was, I don't know. There was too many little things that bugged me, and then these incredible moments that like swept those. It was just a battle the whole time, like back and forth. And it fucked me up because I watched it over too much time.
Have you heard "It's What It Is" before in these movies?
Forget about it is way more common, and it is what it is. What it is like it's the version of it that I'm accustomed to is slightly different than what we get over and over and over and over and over and over in this movie, which is like it removes the is. It's like it almost is what it is.
Right. Yeah. But that was obviously, code. I'm trying to think if I have any other.
I heard you paint houses.
Like,
so the cool little things like that are these little like mafia, like candy bars or whatever. Greg Sprinkles. Candy bars.
Shouts to Greg Sprinkles.
Dude, those didn't feel as cool if you've watched all his movies 10 times. I heard you paint houses felt like Scorsese trying to recreate the magic of early Scorsese. Like he had these lines where you were like, "Oh shit, he paints their houses with blood," like that. But it didn't hit the. It felt a little more forced to me in this movie. And again, it could just be my headspace and the fact that I've seen the fucking movie seen 30 times.
How about Ray Romano?
Awesome. Get Ray Romano back in more shit.
Nice little. He's like 61 now too.
Look, it's not, again, it's the problem is I kept thinking to myself, like, why aren't these guys younger or why aren't there more young people around them? Because the mafia would never consist of just old fucking geezers. You need muscle.
What's going on with the mafia these days?
I don't know.
Is that still because another
they
thing?
Don't have much going
another
on,
thing that this like really had me thinking about is what about this era, this culture, the people that like were happy to kind of dedicate their lives to this. Like, do you ever stop and think about how they had to have had like less regard for their own lives?
Oh, for sure. Any crime movie, all right. So I'll give you an example.
It's always wild that people willingly just like. They're
Put
like, I'm probably going to get shot in the face 8 times in an alley.
Well, that's what makes the mafia, the Cosa Nostra thing so fascinating is that you are literally signing up for. It's the gangster life in the mafia thing and the street life is no different. Your risk is crazier, right? And it's like you have to be willing to go there. And I think the thing that for me always hits is I'm like, okay, Scorsese's spending so much time analyzing this populace of people.
Yep.
How many fucking people was it? Because if it was 65 people, like, do we need 8 movies? I'm just saying, it's like, it's a weird thing to just retread over and over and over. And for it to not have me come out of it like pissing excitement, I feel like look, it was good, man. It just wasn't great the way I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
For the first, this level of production streaming movie. Or maybe not the first, but it's Scorsese. It's like there's only a few directors you could name that I put in that plane where if they got him to do an Amazon Prime movie or a Netflix movie or a Hulu movie, I'm like, holy shit.
I have a feeling that you are going to sit down on like a lazy Sunday or Saturday in a month or two from now and watch the whole thing in one sitting. And you're going to dial this up from like a 7 to like a 9.5.
Okay. I mean, and that's not beyond the realm of very, very possible things.
Just because I feel like what we're narrowing in on is that if you're less familiar with the Scorsese oeuvre and the mafia stuff in general,
right,
and you just sat down for this film, it's probably like a little bit more. You're getting more novelty out of it.
I guarantee it, yes.
But at the same time, I think this movie was really, really well executed and just supremely well acted.
I let the age stuff get to me too much, admittedly. As an ageist, I let it get to me too much. It fucked with me, man. You know what? It's also like this is going to be a wild thing I'm about to say, okay? But I swear to God, watching Joe Biden derail on the campaign trail has put old people in a place in my head where it was just a bad time.
Just get these olds out of here.
For the Irishman.
Yeah.
And these goddamn, what are they called, boomers?
Yeah, the boomers.
We got a boomer mafia movie. That's what this is.
It was.
Come on, boomer. This is a bunch of boomers committing crimes. Kicking people with their 1/2 pound force fucking kick. Never ever have an old person kick someone on camera is what I've learned.
That was such a wide shot, and they clearly have incredible technology to even do like the level of face stuff that they did. It was pretty it was really like it was the best that we've seen
by
for
far.
sure.
It was not
On
Henry
that front.
Cavill's mustache in
Exactly.
that fucking movie.
You'd think that they would just have like a body double for some of those wide shots where they need him to look a little speedier, a little more forceful.
The one positive I have leveled for this already in off mic was that it made the violence feel very real, because when I watch Jason Bourne pound on somebody, I'm like, man, nobody fucking kicks and punches like this. This motherfucker's like a black belt. What is this? If I get into a fight in the street right now with somebody, it's not going to look like that. That's for damn sure. It is going to look like what De Niro looked like.
It's true, yeah.
So you do get the feel of like everyman violence to it, which I like because it's a little more cold, like a little more, I don't know, crass maybe? Like what the word is, like
Well,
brutal.
it's
It's like more brutal. When
yeah,
it's like,
right.
But then he's like standing on the guy's hand, and the guy's like screaming as if he's being skewered with a
Yes,
knife,
yeah.
and you're like, I don't know that old man is doing that much hurt to your
Whatever they were
fingers.
trying to make it look like he was doing to him,
Didn't
they
work
didn't.
out.
They did not succeed
Because
because
every
I was
single one
like,
of us sat up and goes, is that his hand?
"Is he
standing
getting?
on
Oh,
it?
he's getting roughed up a
Oh,
little
there's
bit.
hand back there.
He's getting a little. He's getting a little roughed up. He's getting roughed up there.
And so, okay, just to
Little shove. That was a shove.
the grocery store owner
And then he's just
shoved his child though.
touched his child. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like shoved it. Yeah.
Okay, the kid said the guy pushed her, and
Yeah,
then he
she
goes,
did,
"I
she
expect it
did.
to be like an 18-year-old," and it's like a 45-year-old man that
Well,
De Niro's like boys with.
Yeah, that's who would shove a young girl, I think.
Well, but then the 45-year-old's like, Frank, I had to do it. The kid wouldn't stop mouthing off, and it's like, you pushed the child, you fucking weirdo. So of course you get your hand stomped on in the street. It just, I don't know, man. I do need to go back and watch it again. It was, look. It's also that this is my bag, baby. It is my thing. I do love the mafia movies. I am a massive, massive Scorsese fan, like almost to a fault, obviously. Apparently, I didn't know that. But I've seen all those movies so many times, and I love that shit, and I'm obsessed with it to a degree that is... It makes no sense for me to question why people keep retreading the same thing when I'm watching the same... I'm watching every mafia movie they could possibly put out. So I think it's that I just built it up so... big in my head. I just there's no way it could have lived up to the expectations of Martin Scorsese's new mafia movie titled The Irishman, starring Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, and Al Pacino. Like, when that announcement came out, I was like, oh my God, the world is a good place again. And then watching the movie, I was like, this is boomer mafia. I mean, felt a little elderly.
Last thoughts. I kind of gave my take on kind of what the movie was about: life, living, aging, regret, all that type of thing.
Sure.
Very impactful final scenes
Fast
there.
twitch muscles.
There at the at the end with, kind of trying to confess to the priest, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
And
Never telling anybody, man.
I don't
Never
know.
gets it out.
Did you have any other takeaways or kind of like overarching themes that you saw?
I love that they showed them torching Hoffa's body, and he goes, simple as that. Like, just because that was always the funniest thing to me when I was a little kid and I was having the Hoffa thing explained to me by my dad or mom. I just remember being like, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to get rid of a body.
Sure.
We have incinerators and shit. Like,
Yeah.
So it's always pleased me a great deal when in one of these movies or films somebody just breaks into an incinerator and incinerates the body. I'm like, thank you. There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. Problem solved. Ash. No more evidence.
Actually, one last question. Did you have a thought on who he's talking to?
Who?
De Niro.
What do you mean?
Who's he telling the story to?
Us. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of the. He's used stuff like that. You don't really know who your narrator's
Right,
speaking
yeah.
to in these movies.
So
he
some of
talks
the
with.
stuff I read is that one of the more interesting things is that he's just kind of like in the old person's home and he's just kind of like talking, but nobody's really listening.
That would be cool.
And that kind of makes you are the listener in that
So
case.
why do you
You're the
think
only...
he didn't say anything? Why when the cops come and they tell him, look, man, everybody's gone. Everybody's fucking dead. You're not protecting anybody. And he still doesn't tell him where Hoffa is. Even when they give him the example, this man's children and shit are alive. They need to know. And De Niro's character had felt so badly, clearly, about what he had to do. The only reason we know that's because of the Joe phone call. But it's the only time he shows any real...
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's because I think that I think he kind of makes that decision for life when he does go kill Hoffa. So it's like he's so pot committed
He can never
that he
turn on it.
can never ever, like, he made the decision, and so it's like to even say anything is like admitting that he made a mistake,
Sure.
that he has regret.
Sure.
And I don't think, and
He's
I
not
don't
willing
think
to
he's
do
not
that.
willing to go there.
Huh. That's an
Because-
interesting one.
Not really knowing the story all that well, and
Yeah.
not being sure of what was going to happen, or even how historical this was, or if it was totally based on anything in reality at all.
Mhm.
I was pretty surprised when he caps Hoffa in the head 2 times in the house.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, he fucking did it.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so and then he
I-
leaves the gun in the body.
Well, to get cleaned up, to take
Well,
care.
yeah, but at the time you're like, oh, because my first thought is like, all right, now we're gonna see immediately how they pull this off.
Sure.
So when he puts the gun down and like walks out, that's when I was like, oh shit! Like they're not even gonna. It was heavy. That was
Yeah,
heavy.
It was heavy, for sure.
And it was probably the last time I'll ever see Pacino get two-pieced on screen. Like he's not gonna do
Something.
that again. I
Yeah.
don't think. It was
Yeah.
crazy. It was fucking cool. Look. I'm weighing it basically against itself in terms of like this is a wild project that they undertook, okay? And I was joking last weekend with my mom or my brother, I can't remember. I was saying like it feels like when they did like the Wild Hogs movie, okay?
Mhm.
And they launched up this whole like John Travolta. They launched up dad movies going after like middle-aged dads. This feels like or not even old dudes.
Yeah.
They did Morgan Freeman did the Bucket
Right,
List with Jack
right.
Nicholson.
Yeah.
Those types of movies.
Yes.
This felt a little bit too much like it could have fit into that genre for me. Because of how, again, I'm just a sick ageist fuck, and that's the way they're old, man. So it felt a little bit like it was a little bit weird. But that being said, if you're giving me a choice between like everything else on Netflix and watching The Irishman again, I'm probably going to watch The Irishman again. So
Yeah.
Especially because now I feel like if you can't like it more than me, you can't.
I think I do.
But not long term. Short term, maybe. But I must like this film more than you as a dedicated Scorsese mafia boy.
Yeah.
As a guy who used to black out and start speaking with a New Jersey accent because he watched The Sopranos too many times, I can't have you like this movie more
Well,
than
I'm definitely adding "It's What It Is" into
It's what it is.
my general vocabulary.
I tried to add gabagool at one point, and then I couldn't pull it off. This episode of OCC is also brought to you by Away. Away creates thoughtful products built for the way modern travelers see the world. They started with the perfect suitcase, and now they offer a range of essentials, all of which will make your travels more seamless. Whoever said it's all about the journey has never traveled during the holidays, the most stressful, craziest time of the year to hit the road. If you've ever traveled during the month of December, even though in Thanksgiving, Christmas, the holidays can be tough when you're in the airport, on the road. But Away's products are designed to work and fit together, making travel smoother for the holidays and beyond. Barrett, you ever had your phone die when you're actually physically like in the airport during a delay or something?
Oh yeah.
There's nothing worse, and you can't even like charge your shit to get the text message to let you know when the goddamn
Big
when
oof. Big oof, as the kids say.
No, you don't want that. You don't want that, and that'll never happen to you ever again because your Away luggage charges your freaking phone and keeps all your stuff safe and keeps you from losing your sanity when you travel. It's the best. All of Away's suitcases are thoughtfully designed to last a lifetime with durable exteriors that can withstand even the roughest of baggage handlers. Let these fools throw your shit around. It's safe inside your Away. Every suitcase comes with an interior organization system that includes a built-in compression pad to help you pack more in and a hidden removable laundry bag that separates your dirty clothes. Barrett, you and I both, I think, consider ourselves, I don't know if you still do, you used to, consider yourself to be like an expert packer. That compression deal, man, it's next level.
Yes, it is next level.
Every suitcase should have this. It's I don't know why I've never had a suitcase that had one of those until I got Away. It's phenomenal. The built-in compression pad.
People have asked me before. They say, okay, like, come on, are all the little bells and whistles on this thing, do they all stack up? Are they really worth it? And
Yes.
It's 100% yes.
Yes.
I will say, if you have a significant other, you might as well buy this thing as a gift because you're not going to get to use it on couples trips because they're just going to take it from you and use it instead.
Yeah, you might as well go with two. Get yourself one, get them one.
So either buy it as a gift or get two, make
Also,
the smart decision here.
Just speaking of which, respectable, highly respected holiday gift, the luggage.
Absolutely.
The luggage?
Totally.
Highly respectable. Highly respectable. So, Away has a special offer just for you, Clam Fam. Traveling during the holidays is crazy, but getting away can make every trip a lot more seamless. Visit awaytravel.com/dragon to learn more. And if you're in the U.S., Europe, UK, Canada, or Australia, order by 11:59 on December 15th for free ground shipping with guaranteed free delivery by December 20th. For additional last-minute holiday shipping details, check out their website, awaytravel.com/dragon. Again, that's AWAY travel.com/dragon. And you get that free ground shipping with guaranteed free delivery if you order by 11:59 on December 15th. Seriously, this shit is phenomenal. TSA-approved combination lock keeps your belongings safe. Forward 360-degree spinning wheels guarantee a very smooth roll, even through the most hectic of airports and stations. Awaytravel.com/dragon. Let's talk Golden Globes very quickly. Okay, first off, what the hell happened with Kit Harington getting a nom and nothing else in the Game of Thrones universe? Is that not a middle finger?
Yeah,
it feels like a middle finger.
I think that. Now, here's the thing to remember: this is not the Emmys.
No,
this is not a show. This is not an award show dedicated to television.
Prop this up for me, Barrett. You're more of an expert on award season than I am, and this is my general feeling for the Golden Globes. It essentially serves as sort of a look-see at what might happen at the Academy Awards.
That is how it is viewed.
Okay.
In the kind of in the award season, if you will. It is usually it's the biggest and most notable precursor to the Academy Awards.
Okay.
Having said that, the Golden Globes are also notoriously kind of wacky. The voting body for the Golden Globes is the Hollywood Foreign Press.
Right.
And they like to be wined, dined, and 69'd.
Okay.
They want to be schmoozed. You got to go to the events. You got to shake the hands and kiss the babies.
This sounds like bullshit already.
You have to to get a Globe. Word on the street is that you kind of have to work for it a little bit.
So it's very
more.
political.
It's
it's
a little bit more political, and not to say that the others aren't. Like, to get an Academy Award, like, your studio has to run the right campaign. They have to put the names out there
for sure,
and you do have to show up to some events and like market yourself as like you gotta jump through some hoops.
Yes.
But
the Golden Globes more so.
Is significantly more so, and I would also say that just like the voting body is more easily swayed based on your like participation and willingness to kind of play their game.
Okay, so you're telling me there's an off chance here that Kit was just feeling social as hell and was like hitting all the right parties, and they were like, Kit, you know what? We like you. We're gonna give you a nod.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Huh. Just because, I love Kit Harington. He'll always have a special place in my heart for being Jon Snow. But to pretend that Jon Snow as a character, or that Kit's role as Jon Snow, carry more depth than, like, say, Emilia Clarke as Daenerys, is patently absurd.
Sure.
To not give, like, Macy Williams a nod and to give Kit one for the final season is just, I was shocked.
Let's see. I'm
shocked
I'm
when I heard nothing for Game of Thrones except for Kit Harington up against Rami Malek, Tobias Menzies from The Crown, and Billy Porter from Pose.
Yeah, best performance by an actor in a drama series: Brian Cox, Succession; Kit Harington; Rami Malek, Mr. Robot; Menzies in The Crown; Billy Porter, Pose. That's what you just said, right?
Yes, and Brian Cox, I have to assume, wins that. I haven't seen the new season of The Crown or any of the seasons of Mr. Robot since season 1, and I don't know what Pose is. But if you don't give that to Brian Cox, he's going to tell you to fuck off.
Yeah, I to be honest, I don't know enough about what's going on to be able to take a swing at this. Billy Porter has been winning some stuff, and I've also heard really, really good things about Tobias Menzies' performance in The Crown.
Is the Golden Globes the one where everybody's shit-faced?
Yes.
And there's, like, tables the size of the one we're sitting at right now, and it gets fucking weird and awkward like 10 minutes in?
And they've brought back Ricky Gervais to host this year.
Oh, good.
And he usually likes to stir the pot a little bit.
Yeah, he's an interesting one. I go through phases with him where I hate him, and then phases where I respect him as one of the best comedians to ever do it.
Yeah, but I definitely think that overall, the fact that Game of Thrones is largely shut out of the big-time awards is the Golden Globes saying that season kind of sucked, so no, you don't get your free pass for being Game of Thrones,
okay.
like the Emmys did.
It's you know what? I appreciate that. I just don't get the kit nod.
Right.
It makes the whole thing way more confusing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know anything, but he totally could have like taken out a few boys to the pub, a few lads.
Yeah.
You know, had a couple pints.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Was he dealing with some substance abuse? Oh, after the series ended, he was like fucking depressed. Yeah, he was drinking too much. So the best television series drama nods are Big Little Lies, The Crown, Killing Eve, which has been brought up time and time and time. Did you start it? Is that the one you started?
Yeah, I keep. It's just one of those ones that like I keep just hitting pause on and then failing to come back to. But I've watched most of season 1.
Okay.
It's very entertaining.
So like the morning show's there because Apple put the money in and the work in and the time in to get the nod.
That's the only way. That's the only fucking way that the morning show is on this list, and Watchmen is not.
So the thing about okay, so here's the problem. What we are explaining and describing right now was explained and described to me by my mother when I was like 15. She was like, here's the deal with the Golden Globes. And she kind of walked me through how it worked. And I remember being like, yo, it sounds like the Golden Globes are not worth my time. And it's been 17 years since that conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to make sense of why I give a shit about this award show.
Yeah, it's really...
It's just for fun?
Yeah.
That's it.
And the best reason to care about it is because it is actually the most fun one to watch.
To watch. That, my friend, you are not wrong.
Yeah.
Because you're like, what the fuck is going on the whole time? And then they bring out the Hollywood Foreign Press and explain it, and you're just like, who votes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who picked up? They bring them out like towards the end too, so you've seen like 30 movies and TV shows get their awards already, and then they explain to you how that happens, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Let's see. Fleabag, Barry, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, all nominated for Best Comedy Series. And then, like we briefly touched on, we can look at this movie list and know that some of these will be nominated for Best Picture now.
Of course, but you can also kind of pick out the ones that you can tell are there because they worked it.
1917, I've never heard of it. The Irishman, Joker, Marriage Story, which we can actually all watch on Netflix as well right now.
What the hell is that?
The Two Popes. Marriage Story it stars Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, written and directed by Noah Baumbach.
Tight. I'm in on that.
Yeah. And then from musical or comedy, we have Dolomite Is My Name, which you said you really enjoyed.
I did.
JoJo.
But I wouldn't have fucking put it in the best motion picture musical. Well, okay, I forgot they do these little funky. Okay.
Jojo Rabbit, which we've touched on, which we've talked about. Knives Out, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Rocketman.
Hey, we're going to see Knives Out tomorrow. Hey, Rocketman being on that list for best motion picture of any kind, musical, comedy, cartoon, doesn't matter, immediately makes this entire thing moot. This is fucking bullshit.
Give me your pick, Rocketman or the Queen one.
The Queen one? What's the Queen one?
The Rami Malek one from last year.
Oh, that's not even close. Bohemian Rhapsody made Rocketman look like... Bohemian Rhapsody, by comparison, was a masterful movie.
Really?
An incredibly well done
I've heard
film.
the opposite take.
Rocketman was total and utter garbage. It was utter shit. A total fuck. As a huge
Elton John? John Wayne? You big John Wayne
both.
guy?
As a huge Elton John guy, I was very disappointed in how they chose to do that movie. I don't think it worked out the way they wanted it to.
Now,
Didn't like it. Thought it was poop.
This does not bode well
4 out of 10.
For all my parasites out there. Shouts to all the parasites. Parasite is nominated, but for best foreign language motion picture.
I see Les Mis is on that list.
That is not the Les Mis from like 5 years ago, though.
So did they do it in like another country and now that gets to be back on
No,
there?
that movie is actually not about Les Mis. It's just called Les Miserables.
Why would you do that, Barrett? Why would any human being do
this
that?
one called Portrait of a Lady on Fire? They showed us the trailer for that one when we saw Parasite, and that looked interesting.
Oh yeah. Man, see this. I think it's like this is the place. The Golden Globes might be the one to pick up like weird movies that like maybe you didn't consider the first time around or whatever. Like,
yeah,
because I'm interested. Okay, I've seen the marketing for The Two Popes, and nothing has brought me close to wanting to watch that movie yet. So maybe some of the Golden Globe shit will.
Yeah,
you know, I don't know.
Our girl Beanie Feldstein nominated for Booksmart.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
good for writing.
For
acting.
Best performance by a
either would make sense.
Actress.
But didn't she write it though?
A actress in a comedy.
But didn't she write it the movie also? Just want to make sure I give her full credit.
I cannot remember, unfortunately.
Damn. Beanie. I'm going to find out, dude. I'll tell
Find
you
out.
that right now.
Best performance by an actress in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Beanie Feldstein.
Yeah, she's... I forget. I keep forgetting. Dude, I don't know how.
Jonah Hill's
she's,
sister?
His twin and looks and acts and moves exactly like he does. Keep forgetting.
Also nominated for Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy is Ana de Armas from Knives Out, who I am just a huge fan of.
Oh, good. The screenplay for Booksmart was written by Sarah Hoskins, Susanna Fogel, Emily Halpern, and Katie Silverman. Drake? Yeah. Anyway, the Golden Globes,
Did you ever see Blade Runner 2049?
predictably weird. No.
Okay.
The one with
Gosling.
and Harrison Ford.
There is a sci-fi robot chick girlfriend,
Named.
she's played by Ana de Armas, and I'm just in love, basically.
How do you okay, I got it. Sorry, I needed to look at this Anna momentarily. Oh, this is a book. What I've looked up now is not correct at all. How do you spell her last
Ana,
name? Ana
A-N-A, and then D-E, like de,
D-E.
and then Armas, A-R-M-A-S.
Okay. Wow, she's a tough one to get on the Google machine.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, hon. She looks like a little she got a little Miley Cyrus going there, Barrett.
Okay, I could see that.
She got
I
a
could
little
see that.
There's a little Miley Cyrus in
Yeah.
this little picture here. A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Not too much though. But I get it. Okay. Sure. Oh, sure. Golden Globes. When are they coming up anyway?
January.
Fun. That will do it for today's episode of OCC. Huge thanks to our sponsors again for supporting the show. Make sure you support the sponsors to support us. Holiday season. You're shopping all month long. Take out the credit cards. Use the codes. Hit the URLs. By the way, if you're on Patreon, I'm going to go ahead and pump out all the active sponsorship codes for you there. If you're shopping this week, next week, you can hit those. But if for some reason you don't need the greatest products known to man, which are brought to you by the sponsors of this show, then you can get more OCC ad-free exclusively on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. Great way to support us, the Clam Fam, and everything we've got going here. Join the Crustacean Nation for $5 or the Mollusk Militia for $10. Get a ton more great content ad-free every month right there on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles, with everything from the prior months immediately becoming available to you the second that you sign up, including, by the way, lots of video of Barrett and I. Video episodes, video pods, if you want to call them that, where you can't just hear us. You can also see us.
Wow.
An added element, another sense to
I'll tell you what people like to do, and I do this sometimes, and I like it.
to titillate.
And I like it. It's nice to have the video, and if you're a work listener, if you like listening at work, you pop on the video.
Oh yeah.
And then
In
you
a
can
tab?
just you can just you don't always have to be on the video.
But if you
But you click over,
watch for a couple minutes,
what you see what we look like, how we're
you're reminded.
Yeah, exactly.
of
see
our
what
physical-
you see what our faces are doing,
Yeah,
which could just really add to it.
it does change things for some people.
You know,
For some of you, you may tune in and look at Barrett and I and go, "My God, I can't listen to
What
these
have
two
I been
fucks
doing?"
anymore." That might happen, but for a lot of you, it's going to be the opposite. You'll just be aroused.
yeah.
So definitely go to patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles today and support us. Get yourself some more OCC, ad-free, and a ton of great video. Barrett's hair, you got to see it.
You can yell at me to cut it if you want.
Don't yell at him to just behold it. Just behold it and keep your mouth shut on patreon.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. We're on Instagram at Oysters, Clams, Cockles, on Twitter at Clams and Cockles, and we're on facebook.com/Oysters, Clams, Cockles. My name is Ross Bolen. You can follow me at WRBolen, at WRBOLEN on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat, and you can hear my voice on the Ross Bolen podcast twice a week, wherever OCC is available, RBP is available. The Ross Bolen podcast, where it's a humor, comedy, animals, pirates, but also serious shit like mental health and addiction and substance abuse and life show. It's a lot of fun. Check out RBP when you get the chance. Barrett, where can we follow you and hear more of your voice?
Follow me at Barrett Dudley, Twitter and Instagram. Listen to the Club Cool podcast wherever you are listening to this one. Got a little OCC kind of crossover material coming for you this week. If you're an HBO boy or an HBO girl out there, and you've checked out the documentary called Very Ralph about Ralph Lauren and his empire, we're going to be talking about it
Not familiar with this doc.
on this week's edition.
I need
of
to
Club
watch
Cool.
it, huh?
You can follow at Club Cool Pod on Instagram.
Ralph Lauren, a fascinating figure
Yeah,
from fashion history.
quite a beacon, that one. You know,
Get yourself a $400 sweater with a teddy bear on it at Macy's.
Polo Bear. Shouts to Polo Bear.
What's the highest level of Ralph Lauren? Is it
Purple Label.
Purple Label?
Mm-hmm.
I remember somebody gifting me a Purple Label shirt at some point, and I was like, I'm rich, bitch.
Swanky.
Yeah, and it's gone now. Yeah. Where are we? The fuck? Oh, that was your Club Cool plug.
Yeah.
Right on.
Talking very Ralph.
Barrett and I are
this
going
week.
to see Knives Out tomorrow.
Shink.
Then we will be potting about it for everybody in the movie club on Patreon. And then, as I said, we'll be back next week. We're going to do Mandalorian 5 and 6. We're going to do His Dark Materials 5 and 6. But first, we're going to do the finale of Watchmen. It should be very exciting.
Mendo.
Very exciting.
I don't know who that was at the end of Mandalorian. I have no input.
I don't either. I don't really care. That was like the nice thing. It ended, and I was like, I don't even give a fuck who that is. Fuck it. Whatever, man. Let's get some more Baby Yoda going. We're out of here. Adios, muchachos.
Bye.
I love that show, though. There's
great.
Absolutely no reason for me to give a shit about who that guy is. They can't kill anyone I love.
So the only I saw it and I was like, oh, I bet nerds are flipping out because this means something. That was my.
It was an obvious thing for people that know Star Wars.